This is a marionette horse. I'm going to show you how to make one of these today. You don't need very many things, so I think you'll be able to find these around the house. We just need 2 empty toilet paper rolls or 1 paper towel roll, some yarn or some other kind of string, scrap cardboard, scissors. A hole punch is nice to have but not necessary, and something to decorate it with. Here you see 2 toilet paper rolls. We are going to cut one slightly shorter than the other, maybe 3/4, 2/3, somewhere around there. It doesn't have to be perfect. We are going to put 2 holes in the toilet paper roll tube. In total, we're going to do 12 holes. So a hole punch is really nice to have. I end up breaking out the hole punch a little bit later too when it comes to the feet. But these first 4 holes are going to try to line up so that the head and the body, the strings can go and stay kind of parallel. So we've got a good control over our head. We're going to go ahead and connect our head to our body right now. That will make it look a lot more like a horse. We're going to thread our string from the inside out, of course. We want our string to be able to come outside of the tube and not go into the tube. This will make it easier to connect our head. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and we will connect the head. You can see it's a little bit hard to push the thread through and pull it, but if you have a hole punch, it goes right in. The yarn doesn't fray. It's nice and easy. We're going to go ahead and tie that off as soon as you get it in and through. If you pull it as tight as you can, because you have to pull it out in order to tie it, it's probably going to leave enough leeway for the head to move a little separate from the body. That was as tight as I could get the knot, and it actually had enough slack there. Snip the extra off. And you can see that we have a little bit of give there, so it's going to have a nice bob to his head when he walks. Now we need, right above those, we need 2 more holes, and this is going to be for our actual marionette strings. So it doesn't serve a purpose for the horse's body, only the strings that are going to be able to control it later. And it's kind of going to be in the spot that ears would be. If you can think of maybe where the horse's ears would be on his head, that's kind of where you're going to want the strings to control the head. Here you can see where the placement is of those 2 holes. And then the 4 legs on the bottom, and then the 2 up on the top and the back for the marionette strings. So we're going to go ahead and put some string on for the legs. Again, they're going to be threaded from the inside so that both strings hang down so that we have legs. You can kind of see how long you want, but don't worry, if it's too long, it's better too long than too short, because you can cut those later. We're going to go ahead and thread our legs from the inside out. Here are his back legs. I know those are his back legs because his head is on the other side. So these are his back legs. I'm going to pull them through, kind of make them a little bit even. They should pull and you can even them out. I'm going to do the same thing with the front legs now. And you can see when we finish that, we have something that actually looks like a horse. 4 legs, a head, and a body. Now we're going to need to cut 2 long pieces of string. This is just 1 folded over, but we're going to need 2 somewhere about this length. The exact measurement doesn't matter, but it's going to be long enough to be our marionette string so they're not right on top of the horse. Now we're going to go ahead and thread those marionette strings through. We're also going to do that from the inside out, much like we did our legs. So you can see we have a nice long marionette string. You'll see that'll be able to control the front of his body. We're going to do the same thing with the behind part. Now you can see we have something that looks like a marionette. He's got 4 legs, he's got his marionette strings, his head, and his body. Now we have to do something about the little yarn feet. He's going to need some hooves of some sort. It's just string right now. You can use nice big chunky buttons. They would be really nice. except I felt like I wanted to use something everyone probably has at home. Here's a little bit of cardboard. That's what I'm going to use for my feet. I'm just going to cut out something that I think might look like a chunky foot. Nothing specific, no pattern. I'll just play with it until I get something I think looks like a foot. I'd like it to be kind of big and exaggerated, so I'm going to make sure it's kind of a big foot. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to use it as my template to cut out 3 more. I traced it 3 more times. Now I'm going to cut those out. I'm going to need to attach those now. I originally poked holes in with my scissors, but since it was corrugated cardboard, I eventually ended up using hole punch. I am coloring them. You can certainly use color paint, color paper. See here, you can see where I used 2 hole punches. I used 2 hole punches because I didn't want the feet to hang like a charm. I wanted them to come back up through so that they would stay flat and out while it's on the horse. Here are the 2 front on, and I'm going to show you how I put those on to make sure that they stay somewhat flat. Since I have 2 holes, I'm going to thread it through the top of the foot. I'm going to bring it through, and then I'm going to bring it back up the bottom out of the top. Here's how he looks with all of his feet. You can adjust the feet. Now we're going to work on his mane. I'm just taking some yarn, I'm wrapping it around my hand as much as you want or as little as you want. Might be trying to conserve yarn or string, that's fine too. And so now I just have a bundle of yarn. I'm going to take it and cut it. And then I have a bunch of pieces that are almost the same size. I'm going to use some of the shorter pieces that fell off that weren't quite as long as the other ones to go ahead and tie this together. Make sure that if you have a shorter piece that it is long enough that it's going to have a little bit of extra to it, because I'm actually going to use both sides of this when I'm finished tying it in a double knot to go through both sides of the front marionette string holes that I made, the ones that are in the place of the ears. So I'm going to use those 2 little pieces to go ahead and go through the same holes we've already made so we don't have to make any more holes. So I'm going to thread those through and tie those off. I used the same method of wrapping the string around my fingers and tying it off that I did for the mane. I also used that for the tail. I used the 2 back marionette holes to tie the tail off just like I did with the mane on the head. Now I'm giving this little horse some eyes. I think you can decorate this little guy any way you want to. It'd be easy to turn into a unicorn or a dog. I think you can really do anything with it.